Hi, this is Jennifer Schenker. I'm here at Alcatel-Lucent's Paris headquarters with CEO Ben Verwaayen. Ben has kindly agreed to answer questions for Informulo's first video interview for the site's January 25th launch. Good afternoon, Ben.
Hi, how are you doing?
After years of anticipation, the Chinese government has finally handed out 3G licenses and, as expected, issued licenses for networks running on three different technical standards: the local Chinese TD, CDMA, and WCDMA. Analysts say Alcatel-Lucent seems particularly well positioned to win a nice chunk of the CDMA business and may also succeed in getting some of the TD business through your local partner DITAM. Can you update us on where the bidding process stands? When do you expect these contracts to be awarded?
Well, speculation is always very difficult, especially if it deals with the future. No, serious. I think that what we've seen there are two things. First of all, we have seen that it has been well planned. It has been focused on, as you said, different technologies, and it will involve the major players in the world. And what the Chinese have told the market are two things. First of all, we understand what it takes to win a mass market in 2G. We understand 4G very well. And we know that we have to go through 3G in order to get to 4G. My prediction is that will be a relatively short period of time.
Okay. Well, how important do you think these contracts are going to be to the financial health of the industry as a whole? Will it make a difference in 2009?
Well, first of all, in a year that growth is hard to come by, it's welcome. Second, I think China as a market has been very well managed also from a perspective that they understand that the value chain in totality needs to have enough of an economic value to foster the next round of investments in R&D. And from that perspective, it is quite different, for example, than the India market, which has been from a very different philosophy. I think that China is important. China will be, in this year, more important than it was the year before, and my prediction is that will go on for the coming years because it is a growth market in one hand, it's a dynamic market, they want to change, they want to grow, and they want to use state-of-the-art technology very rapidly. As such, for all of us, very important.
You said some markets are growing faster than others. Can you be more specific? Or?
No, but I hope that will be more specific when we come out with the numbers.
Okay, fair enough. You announced a lot of management changes before Christmas. Do you pretty much feel like you've got your top management team in place now, or?
Yeah. I think from the perspective of the to-do list, the board, the strategy, the go-to-market, and the management all tick in the box, done. And that has been an incredible teamwork, and people are willing to accept that, you know, when you have to do things fast, that perhaps not always it has been the most beautiful process, but it has been very effective, and I'm very pleased with the differences that we can now point at in the way that people feel glued together with a common purpose, and this is what we need to do as a team. Now, words are wonderful, it's always in the execution.
Yes.
So the market says to me, clearly, show me.
Yes. Now, that's a perfect lead into my next question. Analysts say, the company, you might disagree, but that the company's real problem is that there's a massive array of subscale businesses. And the choice is, do you shut them down, which makes customers unhappy? Do you sell them? In a difficult market, it's hard to find buyers. Or do you buy companies, big or small? What do you think is the best option at this point?
So we take this to the level of strategy, and therefore it is a more generic approach. I mean, on the concrete side, I have to give you boring answers, you know that.
Right.
So let's take this more in a general sense. In an industry that has been a box industry, very much focused on the individual component, and the glue of the component was the work of the service provider. And they took their own views on what type of boxes and how the boxes should look like, and what the inside of the box should be, and what standards should be. And That world is changing because the core competence, I think, of a service provider today is not anymore running a network, but having an in-depth knowledge of their customers
Right?
and understand what it takes, therefore, to provide services that matter and are relevant to their customer base. So the network itself is a tool in order to give the capabilities to your customers that are really, really needed. And by the way, the customers spend most of their time no longer on the network level, but on the web. The problem is, there's a business model for the network, and we all live in the network, but there's no business model for giving access to the web. And the web becomes a much bigger part of the total consumption. So what are you going to do now? With other words, very down to earth. How do you avoid that there's a truckload of traffic coming on your network with zero revenue, but a lot of costs related to it? Now, in that type of environment, it is not just the individual box that matters. What matters very much is what are you going to do together between the glue between the boxes to create a so what, a differentiator, a service differentiator, a cost differentiator, maybe even an innovation differentiator. And in that type of typical world, your analysis that we have been beaten by the fact ourselves that we had too many different products as a standalone basis is a very accurate one. So the issue here is, how do you make the glue? The issue is not, how do you get rid of the individual activities? No, how do you recreate the so what? In the meantime, yes, you have to get rid of stuff. But that is more or less a means to an end. The real end is, how do I get relevancy back?
You hinted in one of your last press conferences that you will try to do that in part through more partnering, that you will do things more outside the house. Now, doesn't that also bring in some additional problems? Because one of Alcatel's pluses in the past was end-to-end. And if you're partnering, then you bring in integration problems. So what's the right approach?
I'm not so sure. There are many industries where people have understood that instead of doing everything yourself, bringing in the best of the best is a very, very good concept. The skill set that you then need to have is, first of all, being able to work across boundaries. And if you would say to me, is your industry is the DNA of your industry to work across boundaries? My answer is, not really. So, it's a difficult task to do, but the benefits are tremendous. We live in a world where the boundaries between what is communications and what is IT, or what is communications and what is content, are very blurry. The ability to bring that together from a technology point of view can be done on your own, but it will be very, very painful, it will be very, very slow, and it will cost a truckload of money. Neither we have. We have no time, we have not the money to do that, and we have not the whereabouts to go and to create. So I think if you work with others, and you do it smart, you can preserve the core competence of why you matter. You can make a combination that's relevant.
Do you anticipate that you'll be working more with startup companies?
Well, that's one of the absolute necessities, because a lot of the stuff we're talking about hasn't hit mainstream yet. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why I'm very attracted to it. By the time it hit mainstream, you get very different competitive models.
Okay.
So, yes, and you point to a right issue. How can a company of our size be effective in working with startups? We have to learn that.
Great. Thank you so much.
And good luck.